And in the next go, we have Trash versus Just Shoot 'em. That old school matchup you talked about earlier.
Yeah, gonna be a fantastic matchup for you guys that don't know. Trash and Just Shoot 'em were two of the top four teams in the season one. Trash being the undisputed champions. Just Shoot 'em really vying for that number 2 spot. Ended up around number 3, but never actually played the number 2 position. So a lot of questions there. And they played a lot last season. Have not played yet this season.
Versus each other.
Versus each other. Yes,
And
excuse me. They have played, but not. They have not played versus each other this season.
right. And so we got Trash is the home team this time around. And obviously they picked up the Flyway Freighter for their first go. And they were just blowing through this already. So they got Just Shoot 'em banning out the Celeste and Trash banning out the usual suspect of Helio with Just Shoot 'em grabbing out Gray.
All right, we'll get on that in a second, guys. We're going to switch over to that view so you guys can see exactly what's happening.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my mistake. They've been waiting for a while. I told them
Yep, nope.
it was okay to go.
I just had to catch up. There we are. So we're ready to go right here.
Yeah, they're just blowing through this. So Trash grabbing out the Knicks and Lockwood for their first pass, and then Asana coming out for Just Shoot 'em for the first frontliner to be grabbed this go around.
Yep, so there's your picks band for this guy, Flyway Freighter. Of course, if Trash is the home team, you can expect that a lot. And the Helio band, and they've got a strict tier list. Trash. They said if you don't ban us out, we're gonna pick what we pick every time because we're very confident in our pick. So it's up to Just Shoot 'em to try and break that up or win on pure skill. As both teams are very well known for the top meta freelancers. Really, if you want to be one of these top teams, it's not just play your comfort picks well, but make the best freelancers possible for any situation your comfort picks. And that's what these teams do. They can play any of the top freelancers equally as well. Just Shoot 'em picking up that Quark and Zuki as well, leaving Trash with this final pick for their support. They're going to go with Dr. Finn. I think they've mentioned they don't like Aurora quite as much as both Finn, and both teams actually like Quark somewhat well. So they're able to perform pretty well with them. Awesome single target healing. We'll see as this draft went extremely fast, as you'd expect from two very experienced teams that know each other pretty well.
Yeah, Trash has consistently said to varying degrees how they don't really respect Aurora as much. I mean, it started.
They still think she's very viable, but they would much
Yeah.
prefer the others if they do get
I'm
the
surprised.
chance.
Surprised Finn is still higher up there, but apparently he is. So they're sticking around with the Finn. But I believe since the double bubble nerve happened, they prefer Quark. I could be mistaken in that sense. I haven't talked to them or asked them or really followed as to what they've been planning with that as much. So the Quark, with that mindset, the Quark pick from Just Shoot 'em makes a lot of sense to me.
And we'll see how it turns as they try and select their catalyst here. They're going to see what they can do. They do have a Gray to play into that Nyx on the other side, but reveals aren't everything as Nyx can keep his distance, and if he can only be shot by one person a turn, he can give as good as he gets. You have to have a plan to get on top of him. Asana, definitely a good plan for that, and Quark as well is very strong versus alone firepowers. If he can dash to them and then use Russian Radiate to stay in tether range constantly, there's just nothing they can do. They're going to take damage every turn while he heals back up.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the Ras pick versus that, though, to be able to separate these tethers away. I think that's very strong as well as the traps. So everybody, when the frontliner runs through, Quark's going to follow.
I wonder. Yeah, I can expect a lot of attempting to lock down with the Asana Zuki once again, but the Gray and Zuki can also be used to break up this little bunker to the right of, like from Trash's perspective, that right-hand bunker near the tunnel, where on the side that Raska spawned. So you can potentially break that up if you just like big one that entire area and send out the Gray drone. They can't really hang out in there as much as they might like to usually.
All right, so
that might be a thing that they do.
We have Trash, for those of you that don't know, on our right side. There'll be red team. We have Just Shoot 'em on the left side as our blue team. Captain Hacksaw with Saber King, Keratin, and Awesome Sauce are the Just Shoot 'em squad. Over on the other side, we do have Trash Captain Avaki with Kranor, Safil, and Wololol as they get ready to position. No sight on each other just yet.
Yeah, these are pretty standard starts coming in, particularly from Trash. Pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Random shots, though, hoping for the best more than anything. Ooh.
Some guesses from JSE. Trash doing a little bit more movement-based. Unfortunately, Nyx won't be able to find anybody because of the full push to the other side. Wololol, deep in enemy territory, will be able to find some hits. Kranor in the back actually has a lot of people that can see him. Safil in a good position to support, though, as the grouping of JSE in the center might give them some trouble.
Yeah, just kind of funneling, like death funneling themselves into that tunnel. Really don't like it, but I get, like, again, this where they're coming from on this is because so often Trash has to just hang out, so they're just trying to rush them down.
They also know Trash generally does the 3 on one side, 1 on the other, so if they all rush one side, they'll at least have a turn where they can't be shot. They're going to go ahead and throw out the big one, see if they can't catch somebody in it. You'd expect a root coming out from this as Wololol dashes to avoid some damage. Kranor's going to get a nice 3-person spray that builds decent energy. The bubble will prevent much damage from then. Keratin's going to lay out the trap as well. They are just trapping every area of this map. Direct damage coming down, and they root Kranor as well, although it does have the dash available, but the Unstoppable makes it not even necessary. Such a great mod on that. Safil using it to good extent. Kranor pretty close to full health still.
Yeah, that shut them down a lot. They were obviously investing a lot of things into that combo, but Unstoppable put an end to that right quick. So now they're gonna have to try to adapt their plan because they're not forcing out a flash or a dash from Kranor.
Safil healing Kranor back up, giving a little bit of extra breathing room as Keratin's going to continue the chase. Hacksaw dashing into Kranor and past. That'll mean that position is very unlikely to be hit. Kranor, though, wisely aiming the bounce, so even if it didn't, would hit Keratin. We've got Nyx on the back, planking away on Quark as Quark lashes to the front line, and we'll be able to pump damage into him. Saber King dashing over to the side just to avoid any damage. Safil gets caught in the drone. Keratin gives some return damage to Kranor. But Wololol's actually going to get the throw on Awesome Sauce. It's going to break the tether, and Keratin did not expect this, so he's going to move. Quark is now tetherless on turn 5.
Yeah, that's a big problem, because having to waste reconnecting your tethers as Quark is just like a huge tempo swing. It's now that he's off by himself against this Rask and Nyx over on that side of the map. Could spell disaster coming from the JSE squad.
Nyx so far in the background. I have to rotate the camera to see him at this point. Definitely trusting on that extra range. Kranor's going to dash out in the middle, avoid a lot of damage. Awesome Sauce dashes over Wololol to avoid damage and retether himself. Safil taking a little bit, but will go on to the heel. Avaki did not predict the dash. Awesome Sauce will take a hit from Wololol, though. Safil manages to get the eel on Keratin to find out where they are, and that will start the bouncing.
So right now, despite it seeming like it's pretty even with the skirmishes, Trash is ahead because of the resources that JSC has already been using. I mean, Saber King, for whatever reason, chose to flash last turn, so they're already down a yellow catalyst on their side for essentially nothing.
And that was extremely interesting, considering there was almost nobody that could hit them at that point. And they flashed. I think they were going to go to the health and flash instead. We'll have to see why. But lots of defensive abilities coming out. Keratin taking the direct shot on Kranor, along with a root from Hacksaw. Kranor's in a bit of trouble. Safil's going to put a little bit more damage down on Keratin in the back. Wololol continuing to pound away on Awesome Sauce. Kranor gets a nice double shot over there too, so they're really taking Gray down low. Awesome Sauce and Saber King focusing Wololol, who will have the heal available next turn at maximum efficiency. Saber King putting themselves in a corner where they can't really hit much, though.
Yeah, this is suboptimal positioning just from Azuki overall over the course of this game. There's been good pressure from the rest of the JSE squad down onto Lockwood, and I wouldn't be surprised if we forced out a flash here because Finn is not in a position to be shielding him up or healing him this turn.
Wololol starts up that big healing that they're going to get. taunted heal on Keratin. They think it'll keep him alive. And actually, Wololol and Kranor both flash over the wall. Don't want to take any damage this turn. Hacksaw won't find anybody with the blade. Avaki will find some cover damage on Keratin combined with Safil. That'll be a little bit more, but still not enough. Thanks to the heal, that nice top of Awesome Sauce. They did the math as well.
Yeah, he's still in it. That's pretty good, actually, quite frankly, because they probably did those double flashes in because they expected that Gray was going to go down one way or another regardless. So now there's nowhere for Lockwood to go, and if they manage to get enough rounds down onto him, will die this turnaround. But Finn, right there underneath the Gray drone, is there to be supporting, so I wouldn't expect a death this turn.
Avaki's going to go stealth and continue to sneak around the outside. Safil throwing the bubble on Kranor means very unlikely they're going to go down this turn. Awesome Sauce continuing to heal up Keratin. If they stay tethered, should go pretty well for them. An interesting trap, trying to catch the last damage on Keratin before they heal back up. Dash is going around for both Hacksaw and Wololol as they get the big ultimate on the Saber King. Safil taking a little bit of drone damage. Saber King blocking the shot on Kranor as Avaki just shoots them right in the back of the head. Kranor is going to try and walk away, but Hacksaw is going to be able to follow closely.
But Lockwood with the ultimate, that's another dash. Doesn't have to really be worried about anything at this point. I mean, then probably won't be using it because there's nobody near him. And Zuki is in a little bit of trouble from that focus last turn. Can't say I'm surprised that Rask decided to dash into him instead of the support because of how liberally he's been using his dashes all game.
Wololol starts up this healing as Awesome Sauce continues to heal up Keratin. Saber King dashing away to try and buy an extra turn. Looks like Avaki might be able to find them. Hacksaw going to do a little bit more damage to Lockwood, but cover damage, not much there. Safe, not dodging. Avaki takes the shot just to make sure it doesn't find him. Kranor and Safil focusing Hacksaw alone in the middle of the map, doing very solid damage, and Wololol's going to throw them off the trace with no dash. Hacksaw's not going to be able to do much this following turn.
Yeah, this is where the trash dominance really starts to shine. Because everybody's down on resources, but the trash just consistently has better positioning over the enemy team. So, yeah, can expect it slowly slip out of their control. It's turn 10. The ultimates will start coming out. Bad things start happening.
Awesome Sauce going to try and get Hacksaw back up. They already gave as much as they could to Keratin, but at only 38 health. How can you survive here? The answer is dash away. Kranor missing that ultimate, but does get the healing buff. So still a win. Always able to, as Avaki takes the shot in the back, able to take down Zuki. But that's such an important thing about them as they throw out the Safil ultimate, pulling Hacksaw in the corner. The ability to make it so even if you miss, it's still a win because you're forcing the opponent off buffs and you're taking them yourselves.
It's good positioning from this Quark, still managing to just barely keep that tether tied to Asana, keeping her not healthy, but at least still alive with the amount of damage she's been getting.
If they can make her live one more turn, that ultimate is going to come into play, but Keratin might go down before that. We'll see if they can manage to stay alive themselves. Awesome Sauce overhealing on Hacksaw. Safil going to do the same for their team. Multiple players have heals taken away from them. The ultimate actually coming down on Safil and Kranor. That should prevent some chasing going on. Kranor's going to take the bounce shot for 34 damage in the back as Avaki finds Awesome Sauce. This range on Nyx, incredible to always be at the very edge of range. Keratin does live, but not for long as the teams group back up.
Wonder, Hacksaw didn't move that turn. So I wonder what the plan is here for the comeback, because Trash does have the 1-0 lead, and that's, quite frankly, that's enough to win games, right? And the gray box has temporarily kept Lockwood out of the fight, but they can't really rely on that to stay the situation.
Awesome Sauce going to do a little bit more healing before the big ultimate. That's going to get 32 to each of the allied teammates as Hacksaw comes in with their dash. They're going to shield Awesome Sauce and deal some damage to Wololol, but Avaki's really focusing this Quark. Keratin says, I want vision on Nyx, takes the cover shot. The drone still doing work over on Kranor and Safil. A really great gray ultimate, able to keep them locked down for 2 turns.
Yep, that was good. And with this flanking maneuver coming from Zuki, they Trash does not know that this is where they decided to respawn. So maybe this flank will be the turnaround they need. There's no resources available for Kranar as far as catalysts are concerned. So this might be enough. Who knows? But with Avaki being so far out of the fight too, tricky. Hard to know.
We'll find out as this turn starts. They're going to go ahead and might Hacksaw here. Wololo dashing directly over the center. That's going to deal some significant damage. It does look like that Carradine and Hacksaw taking a bit themselves. Avaki going to find a big AoE from downtown. That's going to weaken Awesome and Hacksaw. The drone coming in from the back, not finding much. Saber King does get that nice big single target shot on Kranar as Kranar, Wololo, and Safil all group up around the ultra low Awesome Sauce and Hacksaw.
I'll admit I didn't expect that Nick's range was that far on his big AoE, so I was getting incorrect about him being out of the fight. He's still getting lots of damage down range, so good on him for that. This hyper-aggressive positioning over from Lockwood might get punished, though, being right next to Court and Asana.
Look has to dash out here, and indeed he is taunting it. Dash going to go to the other side of Safil, otherwise the wide shot from Safil could hit him almost anywhere he went. Kranar also getting out, Hacksaw as well. Nobody wants to be in that tight a group. Carradine hits the one person who didn't leave as Wololo's swipe finds just thin air. Safil trying to get the shot, not able to find anybody either. Saber King does get a little bit on the back, and Safil's getting extremely low. And Carradine will have their dash up again next turn, but it will be in the middle of the enemy team.
Yeah, this is going to be dicey for Carradine. Knowing how much Trash likes to maximize damage more than anything else, I probably would be keeping the rounds into Lockwood instead of trying to flee. Maybe weaken the Rask and then shoot the Lockwood.
We'll find out. Safil throws up some shields to try and live another turn. With the bubble, that means it's almost certain. Awesome Sauce gonna overcharge. We'll see who they get on this Radiate. A weaken from Carradine on two different people, but they're still dead if anybody hits them. Awesome Sauce just is the basic healing on Hacksaw, so they're really focusing Safila, and it looks like a root's probably coming out because they put the bomb directly on him. Carradine does directly go for the damage on Kranar, but Kranar goes for a big double shot combined with the retribution damage. That brings Kranar to no health. Awesome Sauce plinking away at Safil. Saber King actually had a free big one since they're able to also take the shot. Wololo gets the reset, but not enough to hit Carradine. But the basic attack is.
Yeah, you're right. That was enough damage to take him down.
Lady Luck. Abandoned.
But they're in a good position to finish off this this Finn. I mean, they don't even need to do a lot of damage. I mean, just do the basic from Asana to maybe lock it down, and then everybody else turns focus onto, say, the Nyx or even the Rask. Although Rask has his dash up, so maybe focus on it instead.
Yeah, he does have his own heal up and available. Awesome Sauce just continuing to pump heals into Hacksaw, trying to keep them alive as best as possible. As Wololo does some damage. Safil dashes out. Won't go down this turn without some major prediction. Hacksaw swipes just hit midair. Wololo dashing to the right place. The big one missing. The sticky bombs only catching Wololo, Safil dashing far enough out, and nobody with sight of them, although they have some guess of approximately where. No idea of the exact spot.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hacksaw probably should have rotated his basic attack for Asana in such a way so that the blind spot was in the 50 area of the big one, because no one's going to dash into the 50 area of the big one, right? So it'd be like having it next to the wall. Because, quite frankly, that damage should have hit Rask as well.
Yep, Safil's going to start the bouncing around of these eels. Hacksaw thought that Safil was a little closer, isn't able to find them there. Awesome Sauce thought maybe Wololo was in range, but not able to hit it. Saber King does get a direct shot, but Wololo avoids a lot of damage there, and Hacksaw being pushed next to Safil. Not sure that that's what they wanted, but that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, this chase is not going to end well for Asana. They are tunneling down onto Finn, and it's going to cause cost them another kill. So I expect by the end of this turn, Trash will be up by 3-1, because unless they can somehow burst down this Rask with the what actually is completely possible.
Although he is healing back up, so going to be harder to do there. Craner throwing the trap down, completely separating Saber King and Awesome Sauce. Hacksaw trying to dash out of the way will be revealed, but the spray from Seville won't hit in this case. Avaki taking the shot as well. Wololo manages to find Awesome Sauce, but bringing them down to 1 won't actually get the kill. Saber King will do a little extra damage. Unfortunately, not able to kill Wololo either. They're going to try and keep Avaki out in the open. But Cork runs over the trap. Cork is down. 3-1 lead for Trash in the final set of 2 turns coming up here. There's just no coming back from this.
Yeah, this Rask dies for sure, but that still means they're at 3-2. They need to find it somehow, and nobody's in a good position to make that happen. Even if they do burst down this Lockwood this turn, it's got dash for next.
Lockwood spraying over in the center. Avaki healing up around the edge. Saber King hitting Wololo, just trying to confirm the kill here. They do indeed get it. Rask goes down. Safil trying to take a very safe position for the final turn. Hacksaw might be able to find him with the dash, but it won't be enough.
Yeah, that's it. That was tight. If they managed to successfully get that Finn before he escaped, they could have turned it around. It would have gone to overtime, and then it's a bit hard to say. I mean, Zuki still has her ult up, but so does Lockwood. It's hard to say where it would have gone from there, but at least that would have been how they would tie it up.
Keep me covered.
Safil's going to bubble up. There's just some traps coming out. Keratin's going to try and hope to get lucky here. Hacksaw, same thing with the dash. Doesn't find anybody. Crano dashes in to see if they can't just avoid any damage, do a little bit more. Safil's bubble is safe, but this is all over but the crying on this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Defeat.
Highway red.
A tactical retreat.
Yep. So Trash remaining at the top of the pecking order. Can't say I'm super surprised, but JSC largely made a lot of really good plays. They made it close, and they have a second chance now, as long as they have a little bit better with their resource management, with their catalyst management. I could potentially see a win in the second one, frankly.
These are 2 very strong teams. You saw great positioning throughout. There was really not a lot of plays to call out as mistakes in this one. It was just a slow, methodical advantage that slowly churned in Trash's favor. And there were a few turns, like you said, if they managed to catch that Finn with a little bit more damage, predict that dash a little bit better, that could have easily been a 3-3 overtime. But they recognized the opportunity. They were able to not get greedy and go for the kill, keep everybody safe. And when a win's in hand, Trash will not let it slip through their fingers. You need to pressure them earlier than turn 18.
Yeah, they had good pressure on that Lockwood, but remember what I had said with I think this was match 1 of the day with the Helio combo running in, and I said, like, you don't put the black hole on turn 1 because, like, it's telegraphed. It's like super obvious play that people do in pugs, and JSE I think got a little bit too excited. They saw that they had the opportunity to do a full-blown combo on that Lockwood turn 3, I think it was, turn 2, turn 3, and they went for it, but they maybe just slipped their mind that Finn is somewhere around there. He's got the unstoppable bubble. It's just like that's quite frankly what happened. That was the first outplayed maneuver that Trash did, and then they just kept getting these small advantages over the course of time. And there were a couple times, like the early, and I'm not peculiar, I guess would be a good adjective to describe it, flash out from Rask. It was starting to look like JSE was giving them a run for their money, but in the end, 3-2. Might have been a little bit dicey, but it was still a solid win. If you see the win coming from turn 18, you know that they had a dominant position despite the scorecard.
Yeah, both of these teams and a lot of top players are adamant you don't just use flash to avoid deaths. Use it whenever you expect 3 or more players are going to hit you, whenever you're going to take a significant portion of damage. Use it to prolong your life, not to buy 1 extra turn that you're wasting by doing the flash, and then you're just going to die next turn anyways.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
they thought a lot of damage was coming in, wasn't able to find it. To me, the more perplexing one was the Zuki flash, when nobody could hit them way in the corner over there into the tunnel. But we'll see if they continue to surprise us here, or if we're going to have another good match. We've got round 2 of Trash versus Just Shoot 'em. Trash taking game 1, but Just Shoot 'em playing very well. Very possible to take a game 2. We're going to find out pretty soon. They're just getting everybody back in again after each game. They have to get everybody loaded back in. So if you guys want to take this time to check out the structure, check out the team rankings, they're on Reddit, they're on Discord, they're on the schedules on the Prep Phase site, all that fun stuff. We've also got a lot of exciting content on the Prep Phase site if you want to check that out. There's a lot of guides, a lot of freelancer-specific information, as well as info on the game. And guys, don't forget to just get your friends into this game. General PSA, a lot of you guys are watching our Atlas Reactor players. Some are new, but don't forget to tell your friends about it. Send them your refer a friend link, get some cool stuff, and get more people into these queues as this game rapidly approaches release. The devs have said before the end of the year, this game will be in full release.
Hopefully, sooner the better, right?
Yeah, we're hoping for it. Definitely growing constantly each week. I mean, we've got new teams last week, new teams this week. In just the competitive scene, I can't imagine the number of players hasn't also followed the same trend. So, looks like we're getting ready to play in just a moment. Just Shoot 'em might make some adjustments to throw Trash a little bit farther off of their comfort picks, but honestly, they're in such a comfort pick on everything. Just make the best team you can. Play your hearts out. I'd be surprised, though, if they're going back to Flyway. I would be surprised on that.
I'm not so sure, because, like I say, that I get the feeling, despite I was being proved wrong last time around, but I get the feeling that all these teams wanting to be on Sunday, it's not just a time frame thing. It's because they want to have regular practice against Trash, and they're looking to it with the idea that they're going to take it all, right? They want to be able to practice against them. They want to learn how to play on their home turf to get the most experience that they need in order to make sure they take it all the way come October. So I wouldn't be super surprised if they take Flyway, but if they do, I want to see them on red side.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to make that happen here. They're going to get started pretty soon. I mean, Trash has said they're always going to ban Helios, no surprise there. Again, you guys can check out these matches later. But Trash versus Just Shoot 'em. Just Shoot 'em's actually having a tough season so far. They've mostly been playing against these experienced teams, but considering they were number 3 last year in the final tournament and really high up in the rankings before the final tournament, only at a 5-7 record going into this week. I don't know how their earlier games went today. We'll have to check those out. But under 50-50, even though they do have 7 points going into this weekend, could really, really use some points here. And hopefully they'll be able to find it this game, make a big splash defeating Trash as they pick Evos Laboratories.
Damn it!
You got to trust me.
Every time I say that.
Trust me, Siege Lord. You got to trust me on these.
I guess. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the logical explanation as to why there's 4 times as many teams on Sundays.
Well, no, a lot of teams have stated that preference. They play against the best teams on Saturday all the time, and now they want to switch over and play against these really good teams to play against Trash all the time. They don't want to miss out on experience by just being the big fish in a small pool, and so teams are switching back and forth. Also to try and find teams they haven't played against so they can get more wins if they have a little less wins, but yeah, it does look like that they're trying to pick up at least a win here, not just practice, because you got to remember, Just Shoot 'em.
That's true.
Don't have the points to get into the final event right now. They need wins more than they need experience on certain maps, and they're really looking for it. So this game matters so much for them. Also in reputation, if you're the first team to win an official game versus Trash, not just this season, but ever in PPL play, that's a big feather in your cap. You instantly get more respect. So the draft going right now, we've got Evos, the bans, of course, Helios, Gray pick by Just Shoot 'em because they know that the other team loves them so much. But Trash is just going to go with these long-range, good damage firepowers. They've got Nyx, they've got Lockwood. I mean, Just Shoot 'em's no slouch picking up that Finn and Celeste. These are going right by the book.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. I guess they didn't like the fact that Rask actually did a decent job of forcing that Cork into positions that he didn't want to be in. So that would explain why they took out the Finn, taking that away from Trash and forcing Trash to go on Cork instead. And then, I mean, it's good for everybody to see exactly how they managed to avoid having similar issues on their from their point.
I mean, with Cork, you really have to outposition the enemy team, and if you don't think you can beat the position of the enemy team, even if you just think you're equal, that Finn is a very solid pick, just able to stay in much safer spots. Rask and Cork being picked up by Trash. Again, some very solid picks they like a lot on that side. Just Shoot 'em has to figure out what their front line is going to be. You'd be surprised if it was an Asana, but they may come out with a Titus here that not so different. I think Garrison's better on Evos than a lot of other maps, but I don't think that we're going to see that pick in this slot right now. Just Shoot 'em is taking their time, though. They're carefully considering what's best against this enemy team.
Well, they're not doing the whole Zuki combo thing again, so it's a little bit less of a foregone conclusion for them to go for Asana than with some of the other matches we've seen today.
Especially with that Titus Dagger able to reveal Nyx. If you have Cork up front, you're going to have multiple people grouped up, so the Titus weaken. There's definitely a solid case for that. They do end up going for Asana. Straight up power and the bouncing around walls extremely strong on Evos Laboratory.
Yeah, I like it. It still has a little bit of synergy with Celeste, right? I mean, you lock someone down and they're sitting on a Celeste trap. It's a bit more telegraphed than Celeste traps could be potentially, because if you get rooted and Celeste does her trap animation at the same time, you have a good idea where that trap is, right? So.
All right, so the teams are going to go ahead and swap around. They're just having a bit of an in-game position issue, but those are indeed the freelancers we're going to go with. And yeah, we're going to get this final match of the day going on. For those of you guys just joining us, because it has been a long day of Atlas Reactive for us, you guys can check out the schedule online here on the Twitch stream, because there are other games that will be up on YouTube and that were being streamed on YouTube. But here on the Twitch stream, we've had Play for Fun split with Cookie Cutters in a set of great games between two high-level teams. We've had the Experience 2OP sweep 12 Ducks, as 12 Ducks is getting enough experience to try and win their first PPL game. And we've had Trash take Game 1 against Just Shoot 'em in a very close 3-2, but very methodical finish that really didn't have a lot of danger for Trash. Can Just Shoot 'em put a little bit more pressure on this game and make it a 1-1 split? Or will this be another sweep for Trash, and will Just Shoot 'em's tournament hopes start fading?
Yeah, that early game from the majority of the JFC squad was pretty strong. Like, I would expect to have a similarly strong early game. It was the mid game where they really started to lag behind, and then late they came back a little bit. But hopefully they can maintain a certain level this time around. Stick it out. Give them feel like they're always in contention, as opposed to kind of wavering back and forth. Especially since this is the map that they chose. They must have chose this one over Cloudspire for a reason. I mean, Trash has been extremely vocal about how much they hate Cloudspire. Again, granted, that was under the previous respawn system, but still, I mean, if they've hated it so much, they don't necessarily have a lot of practice on it.
With the new respawn system, though, that throws off a lot of teams. Maybe they know that Trash doesn't like it as much, but they aren't confident in their own abilities as well. A lot of people still figuring out this respawn system, not figuring out if it's better to spawn behind your team and run in, spawn near the enemies and run back, spawn just in a good spot and sit near there. It's very new. Teams have had less than a week to play with this new respawn system that's going on, where after you die, the next turn you select the spot you'll respawn from, and then the turn after that, you're not around for any of the shooting. In the movement phase, you do a full up to 8 move that you selected in the decision phase. So very different from the previous system. We'll see if teams can adapt to that. The bigger maps have less of an effect than the smaller maps on it. Just Shoot 'em is the blue team on the left. Trash, you're familiar with, the red team on the right. We're ready to roll in our final game of this Sunday of Week 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's a definite answer as to what's better every single situation if you're spawning behind or with your team. Definitely depends on where the battle's going to go, right? And even whose favor it's going in.
And it's just going to take time for these teams to figure out.
Yeah. Standard 3-1 start. I mean, everyone knows that Celeste is going to be somewhere within 7 squares of this might power up because she certainly wants to lock it down for her team.
I like this jog at the end of Avaki's movement where he's going to check the bush to see if anybody's in there, although maybe exposed, but he is going to run over a mine here. Saber King picking up the buffs, no surprise there. Otherwise, a lot of running, so they know Avaki's on this side, but exactly where, not sure.
Yeah, this is a play that Avaki is infamous for just constantly doing. He always punishes people who group up when they're on the side of his scouting mission. So last match, he might have been out of the game for like 3-4 turns or whatever, but this time around, doing this exact same play that they did on Flyway, he's just going to massively punish the JSU squad.
They're going to pump some heals into Crano just to build some energy early on, as well as prevent any chasing of Nyx. The slow doing that, though, catching 3 people in this big ultimate. Awesome Sauce guessing the correct direction. Will get some damage on Avaki, but Saber King's bigger, better damage will not go through. They're going to try wasting the root as well. They were pretty sure they knew where Avaki went, but the haste on that stealth let him go much farther than it predicted. So a really a tough set of positioning for Just Shoot 'em now after they thought they had Avaki.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a scouting blind spot from JSE, not knowing that their Nyx always runs haste. Like, you have to always expect it.
Seville continuing to overcharge, build that energy. Avaki's going to try and prevent the chase. Here comes Cranor. Looks like they won't be able to get a shot, so they're just going to run around the corner. Hacksaw dashes around directly through the trap and doesn't find Avaki. Avaki's staring him in the face. Kieran's going to prevent any chasing that might come in and try and fire some mines. Awesome Sauce gets a little bit of spray on Wololo, but no damage to speak of. A little bit more from Saber King. Still pretty fine for Rask as they get the throw off on Keratin and Awesome Sauce, pushing them way in the back.
Yeah, this is going to be rough go, because even though the smoke bombs are down, and so they can't see where Finn and Gremlins are, he knows where they are because of the knockback, and there was no unstoppable, so they know for sure that they're in these 2 squares, even though they don't have direct line of sight to them. So you can expect a lot of punishment coming in on to Finn and Gremlins, and unfortunately Celeste is not exactly in the to be able to help out.
Yeah, this quarter that they're in has been a problem spot for them as they aren't able to find much damage onto the enemy team. Just Shoot 'em sitting back there. Wololo's going to dive directly in between the two. A brave man trying to get through that. Avaki's going to take the retribution damage to burn through Hacksaw's shield. Cranor finds good damage on Awesome Sauce. It looks like the dash was effective. They expected the swipe as the mines are missing. Hacksaw doing the brain juice, but you can just see by how many mines are on the field that they're not able to find damage with them at all.
Yeah, and the slows constantly coming out from the Rask are causing troubles. Just locking them down, locking JSE down in this little hallway. They've lost all map control. Not only do they not have good positioning, but they have terrible control over the buffs, and they're already being punished for it. Quark just picked up a healing buff, and he didn't need it.
They're very big on controlling these buffs as Wololo takes a swipe. They really want the other team to not get any free health or damage. Cranor gets a double shot onto Keratin and onto Finn. A nice double root by Hacksaw will hold them together, but they're tethered. They want to stay together, and no mines will be run over this turn. Awesome Sauce does get a double 28 hit on both Wolol and Safil for good damage. They're starting to come back in a little bit of damage, but still behind on the JSE side as Trash continue to pump up just amazing numbers.
Yeah, this is a rough go. They gotta turn around onto this Quark here right away, despite the fact that he's already picked up the health globe. But they gotta turn around on him and start applying some pressure somewhere, because Krynos in a super hunkered down position, and Nyx is just his disengaging has been on point. He's always been on cover, not being able to get hit by anybody.
Keep me covered.
And
Trap
these good
going down
traps.
from Avaki. Predicting the dash. Karadan's going to dash over and pick up the buff themselves. Hacksaw dashes through the trap, taking some damage. The eel started out by Awesome Sauce, but Kraynor going to pump even more damage in there. Saber King only getting a cover shot in. Wololol not able to find anybody because of the dash out by Karadan to pick up their buff.
So Awesome Sauce should be able to survive here because nobody can hit him well, aside from Lockwood obviously, but no one can hit him for enough to completely go down, right? So as long as he shields himself. So he should be able to shield and then run over somewhere that his team might be able to start supporting him. But it's looking rough already. If it's at turn 8 and only one person's almost dead, that's on JSE.
Sofia's going to pump out this healing even this early just to start building the next one, as well as keep Wololol high enough to continue to do frontliner things. The flash away, unfortunately, Kraynor not able to hit that one. The eels bounce around, cover damage. Karadan's going to just wall off that area of the map that they think Wololol's running through, but Wololol going to start the healing for themselves. They're going to go basically back up to a full health team here.
Yeah, not even basically, like almost completely. Their frontliner Rask is still getting healed, even though he's not completely full, and Avaki's like barely been touched. He's in this duel with Asana up on the top end of the map, but he can ult him in the face, he can slow him down and try to disengage, he can just keep getting around that range and help his team. Like Asana's not applying enough pressure for him to really care.
Yeah, he's able to dodge a lot of it, and it's just not enough damage, especially when that root was down. Sofia gonna go ahead and heal up Kraynor even more, so he's free to do as much damage as he wants. Taking the direct shot on Awesome Sauce. Saber King finding no cover damage on Kraynor, but with the heal wasn't that much. The slow coming out from Avaki, they're willing to take the mighted retribution damage to slow and maybe break the chase here. The throw from Wololol able to finish off Finn, the explosion knocking their team apart, but hey, great Quark positioning by Sofiel. Knows even if he gets knocked back, I'm going to position a spot in between the two and manage to keep the tether on Kraynor.
Yep, that was really good, actually. It's good positioning. It was a good knockback. I mean, if Finn had managed to survive, managed to disengage from him, so Finn would be able to run around grabbing up health and healing himself. Also gets Lockwood into that trap that was placed a round or two ago. So all around, that was a good play from Karadan with the knockbacks, but fortunately, it's not really the game-altering play that they need right now.
Wololol dash into the center of the map, gonna wall it off with their ultimate. The trap goes off on Kraynor. Kraynor's gonna not find Hacksaw, who had dodged directly into the shot by Avaki. Avaki doing massive damage with that ultimate.
Yeah.
Karadan shooting mines out as Hacksaw says that they did their job and they found Nyx. You certainly did. 1 health left on Hacksaw. Unfortunately, not going to survive for too much longer. No catalyst, no dash left, and multiple people staring them in the face.
Yeah, they're just going to almost certainly secure this kill and then keep running around collecting buffs. And they, like, the onus is now on JSD to get the tie it up. Trash doesn't really need to do a whole heck of a lot. They can keep harassing and attacking or disengaging, but they don't need any more kills.
Constantly topping off their team on full health, making sure that the other team only gets cover damage means that they're able to keep a solid front line even when Avaki goes low. Just pressure the enemy team away. They're going to root Quark and attempt to break this tether, but it looks like they expected it, and we'll go back into the same spot. Kraynor trying to prevent any chase. As they get a nice double mine. Here comes the shot that kills Hacksaw, and just for good measure, Kraynor is going to get the might and come back, still covering. I'm amazed at how they're able to keep these tethers despite the knockbacks, the roots. Just always saying, no matter what, we're going to end the turn together, whether we're pushed or pulled or held in place. We've considered all the possibilities.
Well, that's what good comms are about, right? Like, this is what differentiates a good team from a great team. Just simple things like this that managed to help them compound the lead. If they had ever had to reconnect this together, it could be a pain. Like, granted, they've been commanding in the lead, it might not have been changing anything, but still, just the fact that they could do that.
Shot from Craner, one shot too short to hit the almost full health Keratin. Saber King's going to try and hit Wololol, but Wololol doesn't have his move. It does have his movement effect. He was using it that turn to push Saber King off of the health. Craner and Sophia pulled in the middle of the map through cover, but Wololol was able to forcibly steal this health buff from Saber King, who was sitting on it with a nice push and move directly towards him.
Yep, that was good play, quite frankly. So well done, Wooly. They, as you said earlier, they value very highly the health globe pickups more than anything else as far as the buff control is concerned, and they've consistently either denied them or they just collect them regularly, which is partially why I trashed them super healthy almost all game.
I hope you like surprises.
Saber King gonna throw out a trap. Sophia and Craner in the middle of the map, but again, not much able to target them at this point. Wololol dashes out to avoid any retribution from Saber King. Awesome Sauce does get a shot on Sophia in the center, still pretty healthy. Sophia trying to block some vision, escape where they could. Saber King trying to block vision, escape where they can. Keratin's gonna find damage on Craner, but not Sophia, so again, the damage split, and Cork's gonna be able to heal that up relatively easily when you don't focus a single target.
And look where Lockwood is going. He's gone over towards where the health globe is spawned, because again, they're just keeping constant control over these buffs because they managed to lock JSC into this hallway, and they just kind of never came back from it. They never managed to have the get back onto the board, as it were, as far as map control is concerned.
Avaki going to invisible. Some more healing for Cranor from Sophia as the trap goes out to prevent Keratin from trying to get the health buff. I think Keratin's given up on it at this point, says you guys can have it. I know you're going for it. Hacksaw going to continue to slice on Avaki. They may get him in a 1v1 this time with a full health Hacksaw. Keratin taking some guesses in the middle of the map, not able to find anything there except for a giant rage beast in his face.
Yeah, this is rough. Like, not optimally where he wants to be. Although, oh wait, maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, they don't know he's there, right? Because he came in from the side and.
Oh, I thought it was just one square too close, but no, they don't know that Keratin's there. You're absolutely correct.
He doesn't really have to panic quite yet.
I mean, he's at full health. He doesn't have to panic. But looks like Hack's are going to come all the way back to the other side of the map, trying to save Saber King as well as do some damage. Sophia's going to continue to heal up Cranor as Wolol's actually getting pretty low right now. Cranor realizes, hey, that's not where I left my Keratin. And the bush finally revealed. Saber King gonna do big damage to Wololol. Do they have the finishing touch right here? Avaki taking damage on Finn, but the story is the damage on Wololol from the Splore. And then, is this a short basic? No, but if Wololol moves at all, they are gonna hit a mine, but not enough to go down. No Mighty Mines, so will sit at 5 health, is healing, and probably very relieved to survive that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to get him. Big one, no. Yeah, he's not going to be able to.
The dash from Saber King could have hit Wololol if he wasn't flashing out.
That's true. That actually should have. Good call on that. But it's like a hyper risky move. Though, you're right, JSC needs to be making the hyper risky moves in order to lock down the win. Or in order to lock down a tie.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, it's getting late in the match. This is where Trash will not make mistakes at this point. You have to pressure them right now because turn 18 and turn 20, you know, most of them still have a lot of abilities left up and available.
4 turns remaining.
I think Cranor and Sophia have most everything. Avaki doesn't have their dash left, but Wololol might go down this turn, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, they need to not only finish off this Rask, they need to find where Avaki's hiding on Nyx and kill him somehow. Even though, like, Avaki has none of his stuff out, right? So those are the 2 targets that are even potentially able to knock down.
Well, he does have his prep phase. That could be a turtle tech.
Yeah, that's true.
But Cranor dashing in, gonna find Hacksaw and Awesome Sauce for big damage. Awesome Sauce just catching out Sophia. Safil's going to return the favor. Awesome Sauce has nothing but the bubble left, and Avaki's going to find the kill from the corner of the map. Such range. Wololo's going to go down on this one, but in a 3-1 lead. Hacksaw would be thrown in the center, except they're unstoppable. But a 3-1 lead right now. You need to find 2 kills, and Saber King can't show their face without dying.
That's, I don't know. I feel bad, but this might be the point where we could probably call it. I mean, just looking at everyone's resources, and Saber King's been consistently low for such a long time. Can't really get into the thick of things, which is where he'd want to be. Yeah, it's going to be a dicey proposition to get enough damage down onto somebody to burst them down.
It looks rough, but some damage on Cranor. Maybe they pull out a Miracle Ultimate here. Saber King's going to throw some shots on Cranor as well.
Let's teach him how to fly.
The Big Bang!
Carradin's not throwing down the ultimate, instead throwing down the Big Bang. Will they finally get some separation? They're going to push Cranor into the wall, and Safil does move out of range. Cranor is stuck in the middle with no healing, but does have both Catalyst and Dash available.
Yeah, so he does that for 2 turns, unless he completely whiffs on it somehow. Twice, actually. He'd have to whiff on it twice to be able to get hit for enough damage to kill him. So, yeah, it's looking dicey, and this Quark is probably going to be able to solo Carradin as well.
They're just taking guesses now, trying to find where Avaki is. Not able to do so. Also not able to hit Cranor. Complete whiff from Carradin's ultimate. That's unfortunate as Safil takes this to a 4-1 lead going into turn 20. They may not win 5-0 a lot, but the wins they do get on turn 20, very commanding.
Yeah, that's one way to describe them, that's for sure. Oh, whoops.
Looks like lots of hope going in. Cranor should be catalysting out if they want the pure score lead, but maybe going for damage just because they know that they cannot lose this one at this point. Saber King and Hacksaw shielding up. Looks like Nick's going to stealth and run in to see what they can see. A little bit of healing going down. Nick's throwing a trap since he can't get a direct hit. Safil boosting those stats with extra healing. Cranor's actually going to survive through the strength of these shields and the healing as Wololo dashes into the might. Hacksaw bounces off of Cranor, barely getting through the shield. Saber King's going to do some real damage.
Yeah, if somehow he had managed to land that last time, it actually wouldn't have mattered. As we said, I mean, Carradin managed to get killed too, and yeah, that just it slipped away a lot quicker and at a lot rougher pace than it did the first game. But as we saw a lot in Season 1, and to a certain extent here in Season 2, that does tend to be how the trash games work out. Usually their first game is close to get a feel as to how their opponent is playing in this particular day, and then once they see how it's going, they're like, oh, okay, we understand how you play now, and then they just crush them. And that's what happened here.
A great adaptation showing you why they are the undefeated, so far champions of Season 1, and looking to try and continue that into Season 2. There are a lot of teams vying for that spot, but nobody managing to take a single game yet. Just Shoot 'em, unfortunately, whiffs on this week as well, and they have to really start. Fortunately, they have played a lot of the tougher teams, so they might get some easier rotations coming up because they need a lot of points in these next 2 weeks. They need to start getting some sweeps down. I think mathematically, you had said Trash now guaranteed a spot in the final tournament. There's just no way, not enough teams with enough points to be able to knock them out. They'll come in at minimum 6th place if they drop every game from here on out.
Yeah, so it's ceased to be even if they lose a game randomly in the next 2 weeks, I feel like it loses a little something, because I wouldn't be surprised to see them just show up and troll all of us by running like a 4 support comp or something. Who knows?
I doubt that's coming.
Just saying, because
I think they always play to win. I do not think I ever seen them fool around with the turn and give away kills that they shouldn't give.
No? Okay. Fair enough, if that's accurate. I'll believe you. Just saying,
Uh,
since when you're mathematically guaranteed a spot, it just seems like
Oh, they don't
maybe
want to
this
give
is.
up that undefeated title ever. No, they are very proud of that
Oh,
one.
I see.
Maybe
Okay.
if somebody defeats them beforehand, they might. But until now, they are loving this.
Okay.
So we'll see. But it does look like so we should pull someone in from the trash team. They won at 2-0. I don't know. Do you have an MVP from that game we should pull in, or are we going to try and find?
That second game, no, that was
Yeah.
just mean and brutal. Quite frankly, I mean, arguably maybe the Rask because Wooly kept them in there constantly with the slows in that alleyway, but they were only able to do that because of Baki slowed them and saw them in the first place. So, who knows?
All right. Well, as we get Wololol in here, welcome Wololol. Congratulations again for another great week of 2-0 victories.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Excellent. I mean, the highlight of that second game was obviously the Quark and Cranor running around the map, but you were able to keep your health up pretty high despite not much healing on your own. Now, that is kind of Rask's specialty, but considering the amount of damage that was done to you, how do you personally, is this more positioning, is this more skills and mods and catalysts, but keeping your health so high with the support mostly focusing on your firepowers?
I feel it's on frontline. It's important to get aggro like a tank, but avoid damage at all costs. Like you can dash and catalyst to avoid damage. I screwed up at the end and catalysted to a bad spot and got punished for it, as I maybe wouldn't have died that game. But oh well.
Still a solid victory at that point. And yeah, I mean, you could say that it's a second guess, but if you had tech catalysted someone else and they got you there, it could have happened either way.
You guys demonstrated the proper way to use Quark in that second game, like immensely. I mean, you managed to force them to break tethers often in the first game. Do you have any particular tips on how to have such consistent play with Quark for them for next time?
Well, one thing about Quark is you need to be coordinated. Like we play some games every now and then, just Quark and Crano on me, together with Zephyr to get our like link connection up. But another thing is the rushing radiate on Quark. If you don't use that mod, you're not playing Quark the right way. Like
I'd agree with that one. Full move if you radiate.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Like you see Zeph sprinting all over the map and just be at the best positioning there is.
Now we notice you guys are still continuing a big fan of this 3-1 opening. Is that always the best setup in your mind? 3 on one side, 1 on the other for the scouting and vision? Or are there situations, and what might those be, where that isn't the best start to the game?
I don't feel that it is the best start. Like we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage splitting up. But we want that vision to get a fight going as soon as we can, because we believe we are the better players and can, if we have more turns that we are actually fighting, we will get the upper hand. So we lose the advantage of being a full group, but get the advantage of finding the enemy faster.
It seems to work out well for you so far. We'll see if, as these other teams improve, that continues to be your favorite strategy.
I have another mod question, though, actually. With your Rask, you run the slow, right, on your primary?
Yes.
What made you go with that over the energy, just for the disruption?
Well, the removal of the new mod, of the old mod that increased your energy gain, which was my go-to. Like, if you don't have that, you won't be able to get 3 ultimates, not consistently anymore. So I'm taking, like, the slow dash now, because the range dash got nerfed. I'm taking the slow on the primary. Just more crowd control on Rask. Like, he gets really annoying if he just slows you every turn.
Yeah, you kept half the team in that hallway for, like, half the game. There was no way that they had any vision, no way they could contest health globes. Like, it was actually pretty brutal when you managed to keep them in that hallway for at least 3-4 turns.
Yeah, I had a pretty good start with the double knockback and then dash into them and both slow them both. Like, they didn't get out of there.
Now, you guys,
Forever.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are a pretty international team. If I remember correctly, there was some Germany, UK, and United States in there. How do you guys find time to practice with each other? Do you manage to get enough time reliably, or is this kind of a whenever we're on sort of deal?
We have some time frames in which we meet up. We currently don't play too much apart from the prep phase league because there is nothing to do in the game. We're waiting for the rank to come out, to be honest.
All right, well, hopefully you guys will get that soon. I think they have said the full game should be released before the end of the year, so definitely something to look forward to there.
One last kind of question about your guys' specific preferences. Do you guys prefer the Finn over the Quark, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like the double trouble mod, the 2 turns bubble, was the thing that made Finn good. Because now he doesn't have a good turn 2 play anymore. Like I see people doing the heal, which is really wasteful in my opinion. You can't just do anything on Finn in the second turn anymore, in my opinion. So he loses the energy advantage, and Quark can just tether up somebody on the second turn and get his engine going.
So you just like Quark more because of economy of action, not because he has better healing numbers?
Bit of both. Like Quark's style, like Quark changes the style how you play the game. You can regroup and heal back up. The enemy team has to engage you, else you're just all full health. Quark is the only healer that got a dash. That's another big plus. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Those are the only things I was curious about. I'm always curious about very specific things with you guys because I use it all the time. You guys are the most consistent. Thanks.
All right.
No problem.
Anything you want to tell your fans? I know Trash has quite a following. Some strategy, some point of the game you wanted to point out, your favorite ice cream, anything you want to tell the viewers at home?
Favorite ice cream? I actually don't know.
All
Vanilla,
right.
I guess. But yeah, no, just Rask's still good.
Yes, thank you. Jeez.
Absolutely, guys. Rask is not done.
And Quark is still the best support. You should get used to it.
You made my day there.
Pick him up.
Trash confirming Quark is best. All right. So thank you very much for being on. We appreciate it. That was Wololol from Team Trash, still undefeated and looking to make another conquest of this year's tournament as everybody else still gearing up, trying to get just the points to make it in. So you guys can find all of today's broadcast